Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, WWE Evolve start 2026 with the bang, of course. Wendy Chu enters a no disqualification match against Chantel Monroe. As you know, these two ladies have been going back and forth. We've been have, of course, the Evolve Championship on the line. Sean Legacy once again gets another opportunity of the championship against Jackson Drake. But the real question is, can he pull it off and start 2026 with a bang? So we will see about that. And then, of course, we move on with our final review, AEW Dynamite. Well, as you probably know, a lot of things are taking place. So we're going to see, of course, Jack Perry teaming up to take on, of course, members of the Demand. But however, there was a bit of a hassle right there. We even had Tony Storm versus Marina Shafir and plenty other matches as well. So we'll see how things will progress from there. And then, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates, give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events and promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only from here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. In the world, pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Nike Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers, let's begin. So, let's start with WWE Evolve. Alright, WWE Evolve, well, as you probably know, they start 2026 well enough. Now, we opened up with Sean Legacy making his way into the venue, talking about, of course, this for his 2026. Well, as you probably know, his goal is to become the Evolve champion. Now, he doesn't know what's gonna be like if he fails to obtain it. Well, that's where he steps into the unknown because we don't know for sure if he will succeed or not. But we'll get to that in a bit. Now, let's jump in with the first match. We have Karmen Petrovic taking on Laynie Luck. Now, of course, it was a pretty interesting matchup. As you all know, Laynie Luck is one of the recent WWE ID prospects, but Petrovic has the much better experience and she's been there for quite some time now, and she was able to pick up the victory with the Petrofire, which is the spinning jumping kick onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios. Now, of course, the Vanity Project, consistent of our current champion, Jackson Drake, and then there's, of course, Swipe Right, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. Well, as you probably know, they're not too keen with this whole idea of the fact that Sean Legacy gets another opportunity, but they're determined to prove otherwise. But however, of course, much like Sean Legacy, the WWE Prospect Boys decided they believed in their honest opinion that Sean Legacy will walk out as the champion. But that's until we get to that bridge. Now, our next match is a no disqualification match. Chantel Monroe and Wendy Chu. Now, as you probably know, these ladies have been, of course, going back and forth with each other for months. Of course, Chantel Monroe tries to act like she is the better woman. Honestly, she tried everything humanly possible to shut Wendy Chu up or try to make her talk, because we know that Wendy has not been herself ever since she had that loss with Kendall Gray. But they did everything humanly possible to take each other, using trash cans, trash can lids, tables, whatever. But of course, we did see a hairspray been in play by Chantel Monroe, and then of course there was the deep sleep or whatever it's called, a dirt nap, of course, that Wendy Chu applied. But of course, she disoriented her enough in order to give her a slam right through the window, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. And of course, she did a post-match interview with Chewy Martinez right out on the ring side. And of course, her goals, as you know, well, she mentioned that that she's been silent long enough that it's time for her to step out. And of course, her goal is now to get to the top of the women's locker room in Evolve, which is the WWE Evolve Women's Championship. And of course, Kendall Gray, who, as you all know, has history with her in the early times, well, she said that she'll make her tap out again. So we'll see what happens from there. Now, Leila Diggs and, of course, Mason Holiday were just minding their own business, doing their little TikTok videos, until they were interrupted by, of course, Ariana Grace, and then, of course, Nikita Lyons. So basically they're trying to act like they think they're better than them. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a women's tag team match possibly next week. Now let's jump into the men's Evolve Championship. We have, of course, the challenger Sean Legacy and the champion Jackson Drake. Well, of course, Swipe Right were right there in Jackson Drake's side, but in the VIP section we did see, of course, Cappuccino Jones, Aaron Rourke, and of course Mike Cunningham, who are watching silent. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys decide to step in to give an ass beating on Swipe Right, but nothing happened till then. But of course, both men did everything and humanly possible to use whatever they have in their arsenal to take each other out. But of course, the injury that Sean Legacy has suffered has been the real play. Well, of course, Jackson Drake targeted, and then unfortunately he applied the unlining, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Jackson Drake retained the belt. But however, of course, during the post match, as you all know, that recent Gauntlet match that happened, the PC guys, well, saying they have other plans. Apparently, they want to they're going to have a show for the entire week, and I'm sure their goal is of course, the Evolve Championship. But however, not Aaron Lewis, Harley Lewis, who we haven't seen for quite some time, has made his return, and now it seems that he's aiming for the championship. So, if I was Jackson Drake, I would be worried, but we'll see what happens from there. But the show does not end there. As you know, for quite some time, Charlie Dempsey has been trying to get himself involved in a match against Timothy Thatcher, trying to prove who is the best technical wrestler. Now, Timothy Thatcher had no desire to be in this position anymore, but of course, Charlie continues to try to antagonize him. But of course, Timothy told him that you'll be sorry for this. But we'll see what happens. We don't know when or where it's going to happen. So stay tuned. But until then, we'll end things here with WWE Evolve and move on to our last review, and that is AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite, as you know, the new year just began for this show for them. So, let's begin with what happened. Well, Renee Paquette gave a very unfortunate update. Apparently, Jet Speed were attacked out of nowhere. They were supposed to team up with Jack Perry, but apparently they're out of action until it was revealed who was behind it. Well, the demand seems like they're happy about it until they showed up. Until, of course, Don Callis revealed who was behind it. It was, of course, Mark Davis and their latest acquisition, Jake Doyle, formerly known as Jake Something. So now it seems that the rankings of the Don Callis family has risen. So a lot of things are taking place right now. Don Callis, as you know, is determined to take over AEW to make themselves the most dominant faction ever. Now let's jump into the Eliminator match for the AEW Continental Championship. Well, we have Jon Moxley versus, of course, what's his name, Shelton Benjamin. I have to say this match was intensified. I mean, everything they did possibly, to take each other out. You would have thought this match would have ended in a draw, which of course would have given, of course, Shelton Benjamin an opportunity. But man, it was amazing. But unfortunately, we did see a movement where, of course, Shelton Benjamin was trying to put Jon Moxley in some sort of an armbar position, but Jon Moxley was able to move it, applied it into a pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So just like that, it was over. Now in the backstage, we did see Darby Allin. He was on hunt. He's looking for Pac. If you guys haven't remembered, it was Pac not too long ago that put him through a burning table. And of course, Pac already defeated him at least twice. But now Darby Allin is looking for retribution over that. Now, our next match, we saw the Demand, Ricochet, along with Bishop Khan and Teo Leono, also known as the GOA, the Gates of Agony, taking on Jack Perry. Now, originally he was supposed to team up with Jet Speed, but due to the attacks that they were suffered by the hands of the Don Callis family, they were unable to participate until Jack Perry called in some old friends, and those guys are Super Kick Party. Yep, the Young Bucks are back. So basically, they became tag partners. And I have to say, it was a fantastic match. And of course, the classic, Young Bucks that we know and love has come back for that. And, of course, in the end, it was, of course, Jack Perry that picked up the win when he applied a knee strike onto Ricochet. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. But however, out of nowhere, of course, we did see Doyle and Mark Davis attack Perry and the Young Bucks until, of course, Jet Speed showed up, all battered and bruised until once again they were unexpectedly Andrade Elilo make his return again and beat down, of course, Jet Speed. So now we're seeing the rankings of the Don Callis family now rising. But the real question is who's going to stop them? Well, we'll just have to wait and see when we get there. Now, we did see an in-ring interview with Renee Paquette with Willow Nightingale, as you all know, who is now our brand new TBS champion, who won this belt a week ago in New Year's Dash. And that's exactly what happened. She is happy that she is one half of the AEW Women's World Tag Team titles with Harley Cameron, and of course reunited with her longtime friend Chris Statlander, who is the AEW Women's Champion. Now, despite the fact that she's celebrating her victories and her friendships, well, she's decided, she's going to send a message to challengers to set her up. However, Willow is not an idiot, so basically she knew that someone is going to crash the party. Well, apparently that reality came true. It was none other than the CEO, Mercedes Moné. So obviously, you probably can guess what it was about. Another opportunity to TBS. So that was going to happen, but apparently it didn't go exactly like Mercedes Moné would have got. Well, she got a piece of cake, if you know what I mean. Basically, she got kicked in the face. Not intentionally, but at least she gets a little piece of something. So that's how things end right there. Now, Mark Briscoe decided, of course, as you all know, he is our current TNT champion, and he's proud of Willow for regaining the TBS belt. But however, of course, he knows exactly what's at stake. He knows he has a target in his back, but he knows one person is aiming for him, and that is Hechicero. So he is already getting war ready with him. So we'll see what happens from there. Now, the Triangle Madness, as you know, witnessed the in-ring interview with Willow Nightingale, Harley Cameron, and Chris Statlander being there. Well, it seems now they're targeting our current champions. As you probably can guess, we all know what they want. Tekla wants the AEW Women's World Title, and I'm sure the Sisters of Sins will love nothing more to get a shot of the AEW Women's World Tag Team belts. So that way they can show that they are the dominant women's faction in AEW. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match, we have Sammy Guevara versus Bandido. As you know, Sammy has been unhinged, knowing too well that Rush was unable to participate for the ROH World Title. Beast Mortos has failed to obtain it, that sort of thing. But Sammy did humanly possible to dismantle Bandido in order to do so. And of course, Sammy's face was busted open in his nose, and of course, he was unsuccessful when he ended up on the wrong side of the 21 plex. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Bandido won. However, of course, the victory was cut short by none other than the biggest scumbag of the earth. We're talking about MJF. And of course, MJF talks about all of Bandido's friends, especially Mystico, and he claims that he is a lucha legend. So we all know that's not true. But of course, Jonathan Cruz, one of MJF's lackeys, decided to get involved. Then we say MJF low blow Bandido. He tried to use the diamond ring to take him out, but oopsie, MJF took him out. And then of course, Bandido got his little pound of flesh by low blowing him, and then of course applying a 21 plex, and just like that, message received. Now, originally we did see Toni Storm versus Marina Shafir. Well, things, as you know, would have gone smoothly if it wasn't for the arrogance of Wheeler Yuta. As you probably know, Wheeler Yuta stupid enough to pull the referee away and end this match and disqualification, but all hell broke loose. We did see, of course, members of Death Riders making their way. Orange Cassidy and, of course, Roderick Strong showed up out of the blue as well. And, of course, we did see Orange Cassidy being a bit smoother with both Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. So that sets it up right there. Now, we did see an interview with Pac with Renee, of course, talking about Darby, but Darby wants another shot of him. But Pac was not going to give it to him. But of course, there's always a way to get what you want, is by trying to break something of your opponent. And that is, of course, Pac also has been injured before. So he knows exactly, Darby Allin, how to do that. And of course, the Death Riders were a little late to stop it. But too late. Now, our next match is a lights out tag team match. We have the Ops, Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs, taking on our former AEW World Champions, Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. So you can tell this was a total carnage, using all sorts of weapons, the chains, tables, ladders, and whatever it took. We even saw cinder blocks, for Christ's sakes, in this match. I mean, that could put you out of business out of nowhere. But of course, Samoa Joe had to send the Dojo to do their bidding. Even Nana got himself involved. But in the end, we did see, of course, a moment where, of course, things would have gone bad between Hangman and Swerve, but they were not going to let that stop. But Hangman got a bit of his new Hangman stature, where he hanged Hook with with the chain, and just like that, Hook just gave up. So he didn't want to be hanged by actual hangman. So that's how things end with him. So it was a fun show. So we'll see how the rest of 2026 turn out for them. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin, of course, with upcoming events. So we have a bit of a short one here. Now, we have some GCW updates for all of you. As you all know, on the 17th of January, they'll be making their way to Dallas for the Code of the Street. The GCW World Title will be defended. Acticus Cogar will defend the belt against one called Manders. And then, of course, they have the show in Louisville, Kentucky. They said it couldn't be done. They announced two talents will be participating, and that is Billy Starks and Madman Ponzo. And then finally, Jersey Championship Wrestling will have, of course, the Jersey J Cup on the 7th and the 6th and the 7th of February. They just announced KJ Orzo, formerly known as Fuego del Sol, and Joe Lando. So basically, that's pretty much it. Now, Fightful Select just reports that Jay White is still not cleared to wrestle yet. Now, we know we witnessed him already attending the Tanahashi retirement ceremony that happened last week, or no, this past Sunday, I think. Yeah. So anyway, this past Sunday. So it's great to hear that he what's going on. Just to not bring everybody hopes yet, but I'm glad that he is trying to get better. Um, for those who are any of my subscribers who are pro wrestlers, it was announced that Kushida will be doing a seminar at the LA Dojo on February 1st. So go on the official website or go on social media to get info. If you guys are, if any of my subscribers are pro wrestlers, go check it out. And then finally, there was a question that was asked on an interview to Tony Khan about the possibility of any AEW talents that might participate for the G1 this year. And of course, this is what Tony Khan had to say. Let me pull it up for all of you so we can get it clear. What he had to say about that. Uh, Here it is. He says, New Japan may come to me, book wrestlers into the tournament, but how they handle their business, that's completely New Japan's prerogative. But we may work together. I think they could potentially be involved from AW wrestlers. I believe they're based on our early talks, so I'm excited about that. The G1's coming this summer to America. So, yes. So, it's of course New Japan's prerogative what they're gonna do. If they're gonna use talent in the G1, that's something that they have to talk about that with Tony Khan. And we know Tony is has a good relationship with them. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably guessed, we have Thursday. So most likely we'll focus on Ring of Honor and TNA. If I'm unable to see any other events, then I apologize for that. So we'll leave things as it is. But the priority is TNA and Ring of Honor. So I hope you guys are cool with that. But anything else, until then, I will say this, and I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.